to the next presentation. And we're gonna ask Mario Santillana to take the floor. And I already introduced Mario to you. So he's the person responsible for the crime victimization survey in Mexico. So we ask Mario to share with us his experience on the whole process of implementing a survey from the technical perspective. Like we heard from Luisa, the main concepts and the main objectives of the survey, and now we want to see, like in practice, what does it mean to implement a survey? And well, Inegi has had this National Crime Victimization Survey in place since 2011. So we have had 12 waves, and yeah, it's going to be very interesting to hear from you, Mario. Welcome. Take the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Salome. Well, I'll be talking about the recipe to make a victimization survey, all the steps that are considered. And as you can see,
I can mute. David?
Shut the fuck up, you nasty bitch. I don't know how to fucking jump on my son, you little nasty ass nigga. Shut your little bitch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay.
And you can say decline.
Okay, so the steps, these steps, well, they are already included in the manual victimization survey that Luisa mentioned in this presentation. And well, the added value of this presentation, I think, is going to be the experience, as Salome was saying, the experience gained through the 12 waves of the MVP, the victimization survey in Mexico. And well, you can see these 9 steps are the one we consider from the to make the survey from the beginning. Well, the first one is the identification of information requirements, and from the first edition, that the questions we made ourselves, what do we want to do and how far do we want to go. So there's another document that Luisa were presenting out, the International Classification of Crimes. So that's the result of very hard effort, debates and research and so many things that UNODC coordinated through the countries to compile of the types of crimes. And there's a huge quantity of crimes included in that document. And well, that the service could include that crimes or that type of crimes and through an aggregate way. We have to establish the limits of the service according to the nature of the survey. So we cannot go so deep in the document with a survey, with a probabilistic survey, but we could identify the types of crimes that are causing more problems in certain society, and to make a different analysis with different instruments like administrative records. So victimization service could help and could be a starting element to analyze or to make strategies, including that type of crime. So we have to identify what information is available and what can be supplemented through the survey. And here comes one of the targets, one of the core steps in defining the survey, that define the target population. As we were seeing in the first presentation, the main target in one of the main practices is to have the target population of people of 18 and older. And that is of target population from the beginning, from the first edition. And well, the sampling frame is also all the people that is included in this age range. So we have to identify the potential risk and the different types of restrictions. The main risk comes to duplicate the information. We have to harmonize how to harmonize the information with that comes from administrative records and censuses, the different censuses that are already in existence. So how the service are going to complement this kind of information. So we have to be aware to not make a contradictory of outdated information, and we have to make all the information to coexist with the already existing information. So comes the budget and time constraints that always is one of the main restrictions, and to the constraint to define how big is going to be the survey, and so to define how the ratio of the survey will be. So the second part, is the survey design and testing. And by survey design, we refer first to the design of the collect instrument, and we have to determine the requirements and adapt them to the questions of this questionnaire that. We have to identify the international best practices. That's one of the things that we first take from UNODC, and then we review the international experience with all consolidated surveys like the NCBS and the United Kingdom survey, victimization survey too. So we had to adapt these practices to the Mexican reality and to the necessities of the information. So once the first version of the questionnaire was integrated, we carried out the field and capture system tests. We have to make sure that we are able to determine if the population is understanding the questions or are interpreting in an appropriate way. So also the methodology is effective. So it's a way to understand if we are connecting with the people's opinion, or we're getting the right information, or there's another way to rephrase the questions. So and also comes the system test. If the survey is going to be captured by CAPI or some other electronic device, so we have to review if the systems works correctly, and this is and this has to be in an early stage, so we can identify the errors from before they cause more distortions in this process. So based on the final version of the instruments, we have to establish the validation criteria. That is a very big and complex instrument that tell us what to do in the case of unanswered questions. What are we going to do in the case of skipping some questions for some reason? As if it was skipped by the interviewer, or the informant didn't want to give the information, what to do, and or any other or any other question, any other thing that could bring wrong in the questionnaire, how to make imputations correctly. So this validation criteria will help us to complete this the final database. So we're getting to the main, the phase. We're gonna go a little deeper here in the presentation. That is the sampling process. We are the sampling process. We are gonna review from a basic way and summarize just for this presentation purposes all the sampling process. We have first the universe. That is all the people living in the country. This is a household survey, but the people could live in any other place. That could be shelters and prisons and well, and so many things that constitute the universe. And well, the coverage is the sampling frame, and well, it's outside the coverage, the sampling phase. The sampling frame, these people, the most of the times this population is not big, so the sampling frame will cover almost the complete population. And then we have the target population that we say is 18 years and older population. Could be a different could be a different set of persons that are going to see in the case of NCBS, they have a different age limit to consider. And then we come the sample. The sample is picked from the total of the dwellings that include all the households, and we have a small, as you can see in the lower part of the sample, we have a small non-target population part that includes all households that are composed by population that has less than 18 years old mainly. And then this area in yellow, the axis denied, at least in the United States and in Mexico, there are so many places where the neighborhoods are surrounded by walls and separated from the rest of the other neighborhoods. So many times they had policies of not getting to enter another people, or other people than they are living there. So there's a denial of access. And well, the physical barriers, obviously when you are making the survey mainly in rural areas, there are some parts that are hard to reach. So there's another part of the sample that could be discounted. So once we have defined the sample, we have the types of sample inside that Luisa was reviewing too. We have the probability and non-probability, and well, the probability, each of them has advantages and disadvantages depending on what you are going to measure. The probability, as we have seen, is based in probability theory, and that's a clear methodology and a scientific methodology that allows us to estimate from a sample all the could be projected to the entire population. So another strong advantages can be that it can be evaluated with consistent criteria, and with non-probability is not intended to produce estimates. So if we are making a victimization survey that considers all the population, this may not be suitable for making this kind of program or project. But it could be useful when we have a difficult or impossible to create probability samples, when we are measuring very specific populations, and this non-probability service could be useful in doing a project of service. In another disadvantage is that it's hard to evaluate. We cannot be sure how good are the results. There are no estimations, so there's only plain results, and there's no way to evaluate them, or only making some assumptions about the population considered. Well, in probability sampling, I would like to review some for all who are more into the statistical process. It will be very simple steps, but they are very important because as we are going advancing through the stages, they're coming. They're still present in the sampling process, even when this process is getting more complex. So beginning with the simple random sampling is to when we make a sample from the total population, and there are some variations that we have with replacement, without replacement, and well, it's very simple. And when we consider all the population, it's not very useful by itself, but it can be useful when it's combined with another sampling techniques, as we are going to see in the next slides. And the systematic random sampling is like the simple random sampling, but considering a regular interval. Making this systematic random sampling is very useful, especially when the actor who is making the service is not the National Statistics Office. When we are a private enterprise making service, they sometimes make a systematic random sampling by choosing the houses that are in the corner of a neighborhood. Those are some sort of also systematic random sample. It's a consistent and a constant criteria to make the sample. So, but when we consider all the population, obviously it's not suitable. And well, but if we if we combine it with another steps, it could be useful for us purposes. And then comes the stratified sampling, that the population is divided into mutually exclusive and exhaustive groups. That's strata, and then a simple random sample is taken from this strata. So this, in the case of Inegi, we are construct this strata from the characteristics of the dwellings. There we have a set of groups depending on if the dwelling has some kind of floor, the quantity of rooms, if they are in rural or urban areas, and the number of inhabitants, and there are so many characteristics that are considered to construct this kind of strata. So again, it can be combined with our sampling techniques to gain the precision and reduce the cost of the project. Then comes the cluster sampling. The cluster sampling that we have subpopulations. We divide into subpopulations. Looking in a simple way, we could define it by geographical or administrative boundaries, this set of clusters. And given that every state or province will be considered as a cluster, a population separate, that but that has the disadvantage of each of the cluster has a source of error. There are some techniques to go over these kind of errors, but anyway, this is one of the disadvantages of taking only the cluster sampling. But again, as in the previous cases, it can be combined to make another more complex sampling technique. And comes the multi-stage sampling. This refers about making samples from another samples, and this is we are getting to the methodology that we use in the institute to make the sampling process for the most of the surveys we make. And this considers a first set of clusters that the primary sampling units, and well, the primary sampling units are selected randomly also in a second stage, and then in a third stage we select the specific informants from the PSUs, and then how's the that's how the multi-stage sampling process is made. So as you can see, we are combining some of the techniques explained before that by themselves are very difficult to apply in the reality, but when we recur to multi-stage sampling, the things could be more reachable. And well, in the case of the National Victimization Survey of Mexico, the NVIPE, as we said before, it's probabilistics. It can be, the results can be projected to the entire population, and well, it has 3 stages. It's stratified and by clusters. Well, this last unit of selection is the dwelling itself, and well, the target population is the people aged 18 and over, and well, the Inegi has a master sampling framework that is used for all the surveys, not only victimization, but for all the economic and geographic surveys that that is used for the first stage of the sampling. And this master sampling framework is updated from the population and housing census, and is the common technique that is used in the most of the countries. And well, then we have the primary sampling units integrated in this master sampling framework. And well, as I was telling, the third stage is a member selected, household is randomly selected to answer the survey. So the primary sampling units, we have to consider that Mexico has a population of about 130 million people. And then the PSUs are made up of 18 to 160 dwellings in the urban areas, or on up to 300 for rural areas. And well, we have a total of 240,000 PSUs at the national level, and the strata as 683, according to all the characteristics I was mentioning before, with each of the dwellings, considering the different clusters that the different states in the country. So once we have this development of the survey, so but how many dwellings are going to choose, so the sample size is based to different characteristics, and it depends on the phenomena to be studied. In this case, the victimization. Well, it has to review the probability. There are so many people that believes that the sample has a strong relationship with the size of the population, but at least from this methodology, it depends on the phenomena that is going to be measured. So the probability of being a victim of a crime, and well, it depends also in the level of precision, the parameters that use it, that is gonna that's going to intervene in the sampling size and the sampling scheme that is followed. and then the study domain of area and to the information is going to be provided. So we have here the sample size formula we use is a combination of these parameters. These parameters we've been adjusting through the different editions, and the seed is the quantile value of a standard normal distribution, and the estimation of the proportion of interest is the average of each one of the states in Mexico. So it's 1.1%. That's the minimum probability of being victimized in a single state. So if we combine all of these values, we have a sample size of about 102,000 dwellings, considering the sign effect, the 2.078. That is the difference, the difference or the compensation of the errors generated by using the different techniques of sampling. So is the reason of a standard deviation, or the reason of variance or variations between the different sampling techniques, and if we're using simple random sampling, and to correct this kind of errors generated in the sampling process, we have to put a design effect that leads to this sample size of 102,000 to 102,000 dwellings in the country. So there's an additional stages to make sure that the distribution is fair through the states, and well, the sample selection is made independently by entity, domain, and stratum, and the selection period varies according to the domain. So these are the stages that we make for define the final sample of the survey. So in the data collection, we have to allocate into the interviewer workloads. We have a limited period of information collection, so we have to look for to allocate a reasonable workload for each of the interviewers. So some of the things that we have learned through the years is that it's very desirable that the interviewers are from the region in which they will operate. This generates a big confidence between the interviewer and the informant. And also, there's a very important thing here that's we have to look for them to work outside the hours they are contracted for, because if we look for the people during the day, there's a high probability of they are working, they are not at home. So we have to make sure that the people that is interviewing, that is making the interviews, are willing to work late in the evening or even in weekends, so we can catch the most of the information from the population. And then we conduct interviews and field editing, and the management of field operations. As we say, the schedules of the interviewers is very important. And to resolve the field queries, there's a capacitation process that is very important to make sure that all the interviewers understand each and every step of the survey. And then the capture the responses and repair data. We ask to the interviews to record every every situation in order to take a decision in the case of having doubt about the answers given in any of the steps and any of the parts of the questionnaire. And
Mario,
then,
sorry to interrupt, but you have 8 minutes.
okay, okay. So yeah, I think the sampling process was the more deep. These are quickly. The role database integration. We have to the validation criteria that we formed from the beginning is going to be implemented, so we can save all the cases that have incomplete information, and analyze the special cases, the outlier, and consider comments or messages from interviewers, and then make the estimates results, incorporate the weights, that is the expansion factors, that that is the instruments through we're going to be the projection to all the population, and to calculate the relevant rates, the prevalence, crime prevalence and incidence, the dark figure, and the disaggregations, and the statistical quality analysis that is going to tell us that how good are the estimations, and define the databases that can be made available to stakeholders without the variables that make confidential or compromise some of the information. And the analysis and linkage with related statistics, how they're going to coexist. We have documented the main findings to make a constant improving process for the next editions, and to make the longitudinal and time series analysis whenever it's possible, and explain the difference and similarities with other sources of information, and meet the requirements to make international comparisons is very important, as Luisa was telling, to make international comparisons to define global instruments. Determine the means through which the result will be released, and how are we going to make sure that the survey is going to be known by all the people and received by the strategic users, and support for relevant stakeholders, all the collaboration and cooperation with the authorities or the academic sectors to make a research. And finally, the evaluation and continuity, that's an important process to make better the instrument in every edition. So one of the conclusions are the probabilistic surveys are an effective, economically efficient source to generate relevant statistical information that can complement the administrative records and the information derived from the different type of censuses. And then regarding the sampling, in the extent that the sampling frame, the sampling design are well defined, the more effective the estimates generated by crime victimization service will be. So we're going to be prepared to defend all these methodologies. Also these methodologies can be adjusted or become more sophisticated. There will always be a comparability or compromise with the comparability over time or in longitudinal terms. And so caution should be exercised when implemented these actions. So we had to find an equilibrium between these innovations and the comparability to get this information. So this will be what I got. I'm going to stop here.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you very much. You were running at the end of the presentation. We know you went very deeply into the sampling. I don't know if there are any questions. I noticed that on the chat box, the people online are asking if we're gonna share the presentations. We're planning to have all materials available in the YouTube channel, but we will also add all the presentation, the PowerPoint presentations in the conference website. So they will be available there as well. But if anyone is really eager to get the presentations, of course, we can share them by email. I don't know if do you have any questions about Mario's presentation? I didn't notice any other question. I think someone is typing. I do have a question. Well, I had many questions, but I will only add one. No, because this is something that we always discuss, you know, in every single country. So what is the difference? Why do we pay so much attention to sample design, and why is representativeness so important? Because in many countries we see that they usually, you know, there are initiatives and they apply polls and not surveys. So maybe if you can comment on that, because I think this is key to the victimization surveys. Please, Mario.
Well, telling in plain language, representativeness is the way how the numbers we get relate to reality. So in order to have results that reflect the reality from the country, we need to have representative results. That representativeness implies a small intervals of estimation. The interval of estimation is the size that around the estimation. So if the interval is big, so we cannot be sure if the estimation is good. So in the as an example, in the MIPE, we have for kidnappings, we have very big intervals. So it's not a good instrument by itself to measure the kidnappings, because their occurrence is very low compared to another crimes, whereas the robberies or extortions. So some other sources will be better. But in the case of extortions and robberies, different kinds of robberies, they have small intervals of estimation that lead us to make more short about we are catching the reality. So that would be the difference.
Thank you, Mario. I think this is very, very important, because I think it's clear that we need to have robust sample designs if we really want to have representative results. And also if we want to have information to evaluate the results and to be able to assess the quality of the estimates, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Mario. And thanks for running at the end of your presentation. Again. So I think we move on to the last presentation.